The morning was bright and busy in New York City. Cars moved fast on the road and people walked quickly toward offices. In the middle of this noise stood a small cafe called City Bean. Inside, the smell of coffee and baked bread filled the air. Waiters and waitresses moved around, taking orders and serving food. Among them was Maya, a young waitress who always wore a kind smile even when she was tired. Maya had been working at City Bean for 2 years. Every morning she woke up before sunrise, prepared breakfast for her younger brother Leo, and then took the bus to work. Their parents had passed away when she was 16, leaving Maya to take care of everything. She was strong, smart, and full of hope even when life was hard. She loved learning new things and spent her free time reading books about logic, numbers, and business. Her dream was to study finance one day, but she could not afford college fees yet. The cafe was full that morning when a man walked in. He was tall and wore a gray suit that looked very expensive. His shoes shined like glass and he held a phone in one hand. Everyone turned to look because his presence was strong. The manager whispered to Maya, "That is Richard Hale, the billionaire investor. Be careful and serve him well." Maya nodded. She picked up a menu and walked to his table. Richard was looking at his phone, reading something seriously. "Good morning, sir," Maya said softly. "What would you like to have today?" Richard looked up slowly. His eyes were sharp and his voice carried authority. "Coffee, black, no sugar," he said. He didn't smile or say please. Maya nodded politely and walked to the counter. She was used to all kinds of customers. Some were kind, some were rude, but she treated everyone the same. A few minutes later, she placed the cup of coffee on his table. "Here you go, sir," she said. Richard picked it up, took a sip, and then looked at her again. "How long have you been working here?" he asked. 2 years, sir," Maya replied. He raised an eyebrow. "And how much do you earn in a month?" Maya was surprised by the question but answered honestly, "Not much, sir. But it is enough to take care of my brother." Richard leaned back and smirked slightly. "You know, people like you work all their lives and never get ahead. The world is not kind to those who only work hard. You have to be smart, not just busy." Maya didn't like the way he spoke, but she stayed calm. "Maybe that is true, sir, but I believe working hard and learning makes a person stronger." Her calm answer caught his attention. Most people stayed quiet when he spoke like that. "Learning?" he repeated. "You think learning can change your life?" "Yes, sir," Maya said. "Knowledge never fails anyone." Richard smiled faintly, but it was a proud smile. "All right, let's see how much you know," he said. He took a napkin and a pen from the table and began to write something. When he finished, he pushed it toward her. "Solve this. If you can, I will give you anything you want." The cafe grew silent. A few customers turned to watch. The manager stood frozen near the counter. Maya looked down at the napkin. It had a strange math puzzle written on it with numbers and symbols she had never seen together before. It looked like something from a high-level business test. Richard watched her closely. "Go on," he said. "If you are as smart as you say, prove it." Maya took a deep breath. She studied the napkin for a few seconds. The numbers seemed random, but she noticed a pattern. She whispered softly as she thought. "Each number connects to the next by double, then -1, then double again," she murmured. She started writing step by step on another napkin. The cafe went quiet except for the sound of her pen. 5 minutes passed. Richard crossed his arms, sure she would fail. 10 minutes passed. Maya kept working, her brow slightly furrowed, her eyes focused. Finally, she stopped and smiled. "I think I got it," she said and handed the napkin back to him. Richard looked at the answer. His expression changed slowly from pride to surprise. The answer was correct. He double-checked it and then looked up at her. "You solved it?" he asked in disbelief. "Yes, sir," Maya said simply. "It was a pattern of repeating logic. Once you see it, the rest is easy." Richard stared at her. He had given that puzzle to business interns before, and none of them could solve it in less than half an hour. This waitress had done it in 10 minutes. For the first time that morning, he had nothing to say. The manager stepped forward, his mouth slightly open. "Maya, how did you do that?" he whispered. Maya smiled shyly. "I just like solving puzzles. I read about patterns and sequences sometimes." Richard leaned back and chuckled softly. "You're not like the others," he said. "You said I could give you anything you want if you solved it. So tell me, what do you want?" Maya thought for a few seconds. She could have asked for money, a car, or even a new house. But she looked at him and said, "I don't want money, sir. I want a chance to learn. That is all. Richard raised an eyebrow. A chance to learn? Yes, she said. I want to study business and finance, but I can't pay for it. I know I can do well if I get a chance. Her answer made Richard silent again. He had met thousands of people who asked him for favors, but never for knowledge. Finally, he said, "You are interesting. Come to my office tomorrow morning at 9. Bring this napkin with you." Maya's heart jumped, but she stayed calm. "Thank you, sir," she said. Richard stood up, left a $100 bill on the table, and walked out without another word. The cafe remained quiet for a moment after he left. Then everyone started talking at once. The manager came to her and said, "Maya, do you know who he is?" "He owns one of the biggest companies in the country." Maya smiled. "Yes, I know. But today he was just a customer who gave me a puzzle." When her shift ended, she went home and told Leo everything. He listened with wide eyes. "You mean a real billionaire told you to visit his office?" He said. "Yes," Maya said. "He told me to come tomorrow morning." Leo looked nervous. "What if he was joking?" Maya smiled gently. "Then I will still learn something from it. But I don't think he was joking." That night, Maya sat by the small window of their apartment. She looked at the napkin again, the numbers now faded but still clear. It felt like a door was opening somewhere, a door she never thought she could reach. The city lights outside sparkled like 1,000 tiny stars. She whispered softly, "Tomorrow will be a new day." She didn't know that her life was about to change in ways she could never imagine. The next morning, Maya woke up before the sun rose. Her heart was full of nervous excitement. She ironed her only white shirt and paired it with black pants. Her shoes were old but clean. She tied her hair neatly and looked in the mirror. She told herself quietly, "You can do this." Leo, her younger brother, sat at the table eating toast. He looked up and smiled. "You look like you are going to an interview," he said. Maya laughed softly. "Maybe I am. I am going to meet Mr. Hale today. I have no idea what will happen, but I must go." Leo nodded. "You are brave, Maya. Whatever happens, I am proud of you." She kissed his forehead, grabbed her small purse, and left for the bus stop. The streets were busy with people rushing to work. Maya's hands felt cold, but her mind stayed clear. She reached the tall glass building that had Hale Investments written on it in shining letters. The building looked like it touched the clouds. Inside the lobby, everything looked elegant. The floor was white marble, and the air smelled like perfume and coffee. People in suits moved quickly, carrying files and laptops. Maya walked to the front desk. The receptionist smiled politely. "Good morning. Do you have an appointment?" "Yes," Maya said. "My name is Maya. Mr. Richard Hale told me to come at 9. The receptionist checked the list and nodded. "Yes, Miss Maya, Mr. Hale is expecting you. Take the elevator to the 32nd floor." Maya thanked her and walked toward the elevator. Her heart pounded as she watched the numbers rise. When the doors opened, she stepped out into a quiet hallway with large windows and golden lights. A woman in a blue suit came forward. "Mr. Hale will see you now," she said. The office was big and bright. Richard Hale sat behind a wooden desk looking at his computer. He looked up when Maya entered. "You came," he said. "Yes, sir," she replied. "You told me to come." Richard stood up and motioned for her to sit. "Good, I like people who keep their word." Maya sat down, trying to stay calm. Richard studied her for a moment before speaking again. "You solved my puzzle yesterday. Most people would not even try. I was curious to know if that was luck or skill. Tell me, where did you learn that kind of logic?" "I taught myself, sir," Maya said. "I like solving problems. I read books from the public library whenever I get time." Richard leaned back, looking impressed. "So you never studied at a college?" "No, sir. I had to start working early to support my brother," she said honestly. Richard nodded slowly. "You said you wanted a chance to learn, not money. That was unusual. Why?" Maya looked at him firmly. "Because money can be lost, but knowledge stays forever. If I can learn, I can build my own future." Her answer made him silent for a moment. He looked out the window and said, "You remind me of someone I knew a long time ago." Then he turned back to her. "I have an offer. My company has a training program for new analysts. It is usually for graduates from top universities. But I can make an exception for you. You will start as a trainee for 3 months. If you do well, you will stay. If not, the program will end. Do you accept?" Maya's heart jumped. She could not believe what she was hearing. "Yes, sir." "I accept," she said quickly. "Good," Richard said. "You will report here tomorrow morning at 8. You will work under Mr. Allen, one of my senior analysts. He will guide you. You will learn everything from the basics." "Thank you, sir," Maya said with gratitude. Richard smiled slightly. "Do not thank me yet. It will be hard work. Most people cannot handle the pressure." "I am ready for it, sir," Maya said with confidence. As she left the office, she felt her heart light as air. She called Leo from the lobby. "Leo, he gave me a chance." "I start tomorrow," Leo shouted with joy on the other side of the phone. "You did it, Maya. I knew you would." That night, Maya could hardly sleep. She read about business terms, stock markets, and finance. She wanted to be ready for her first day. She promised herself she would not waste the opportunity. The next morning, she reached the office early. The office was busy and full of energy. Everyone was dressed perfectly, and screens on the walls showed numbers moving fast. A man in his 40s with glasses approached her. "You must be Maya," he said kindly. "I am Alan. Mr. Hale told me about you. Come, I will show you around." Alan explained everything to her. He showed her how to read reports, analyze charts, and understand company growth. At first it was hard. Maya had to learn fast, but she paid attention to every word. Alan noticed her effort. By the end of the day, she was able to do simple data work on her own. A few weeks passed. Every day, Maya arrived early and left late. She worked quietly, taking notes and improving her skills. Other interns sometimes made fun of her because she was a waitress before, but she never replied. She let her work speak for her. One afternoon, Richard walked into the office floor for inspection. He noticed Maya working at her desk. "How is she doing?" he asked Alan. Alan smiled. "Better than expected, sir. She learns faster than most people here." Richard looked at Maya through the glass window. She was focused, her fingers moving quickly on the keyboard. There was something about her that caught his attention. It was her determination. He had seen it before only in a few people who became great. Later that day, Richard called her into his office. "I have seen your reports," he said. "You are doing well. I did not expect a waitress to handle financial data with such skill." Maya smiled politely. "Thank you, sir." "I am trying my best," Richard nodded. "Do not try. Succeed. That is what separates the great from the average." Maya held his gaze and said, "I will succeed, sir." That evening, as she left the office, Alan stopped her near the elevator. "You know, Richard Hale is not an easy man to impress. If he is watching you, it means you are doing something right." Maya smiled. "I am only doing my job, sir." But deep inside, she felt proud. For the first time, someone powerful believed in her potential. Over the next month, Maya continued to improve. She learned about investments, business models, and market strategies. Her logical mind helped her see patterns others missed. Richard began calling her to meetings, asking for her opinion. Each time she spoke, her ideas made sense, and he listened carefully. One day, Richard gave her a new test. "Maya," he said, handing her a document, "this is a failing project. Tell me why it is losing money and how to fix it." "You have 2 days," Maya nodded. "Yes, sir." She spent 2 long nights studying every line. She noticed small mistakes in the budget and found a way to improve the plan. When she presented it to him, he was impressed again. "You are sharp," Richard said. "You have a mind made for business." Maya smiled softly. "Thank you, sir. I just like solving problems." He looked at her and said quietly, "Maybe you were never meant to serve coffee. Maybe you were meant to change the world." That sentence stayed in her heart long after she went home. The next few weeks turned into months, and Maya's life started to change. Every morning she took the same bus, wearing the same clean white shirt and carrying her small notebook. But now she walked with more confidence. People in the office who once ignored her began to notice her hard work. Maya was not just another trainee anymore. She was becoming a key part of the team. Her reports were clear, her ideas made sense, and her calm nature made others trust her. She still stayed late every evening, reading about markets and business rules. She wanted to be the best. One morning, the office was preparing for a big presentation. Richard Hale himself was going to attend. The meeting was about a new project that could earn the company millions if handled well. Alan called Maya to his desk. "Maya, I need your help with the numbers. There is a small issue with the data. Can you check it again?" "Of course, sir," Maya said. She went through the reports carefully and found an error in the profit calculation. She fixed it quickly and explained the correct figures to Alan. He smiled. Good work. You just saved us from a big mistake. The meeting started in the large conference room. The top team members sat around the table while Richard stood near the screen. Maya sat quietly at the back taking notes. During the meeting, one of the managers presented a plan with a few confusing numbers. Richard noticed something was wrong and asked, "Who checked these figures?" The room went silent. Alan spoke up. "Sir, Maya noticed the mistake earlier and corrected it. These are the right numbers." Richard looked at Maya, who sat calmly. "You found the mistake?" He asked. "Yes, sir," she said. "It was a calculation error. The final result was off by 2%. Richard nodded. "Good eye. That kind of attention to detail is what keeps this company strong." The other managers looked surprised. A few months ago, she was just a waitress. Now she was getting praised by the billionaire himself. After the meeting, Richard called her to his office. "You handled yourself well today," he said. "I like people who notice what others miss. Tell me, what do you think about the new project?" Maya thought for a moment before answering. "It is good, sir. But I think we can do better if we focus on small businesses instead of only large companies. They are growing fast and we can help them. It may take time, but it will build trust and steady income." Richard listened carefully. Most of his staff never spoke so directly to him. "You believe small businesses are worth the risk?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Maya said confidently. "They need guidance, not just money. If we support them right, they will grow and stay loyal." Richard leaned back and smiled slightly. "Interesting idea. I will think about it." Over the next few weeks, he started asking her for opinions more often. She worked closely with him on reports and presentations. Her days were long, but she loved every minute of it. She was learning things she could never learn from books. One evening, after a long meeting, Richard asked her to stay for a few minutes. The office was quiet and the city lights shone through the large windows. "Maya," he said, "do you know why I gave you a chance that day in the cafe?" Maya looked at him curiously. "Because I solved the puzzle, sir?" He shook his head. "That was part of it, yes. But the real reason was your answer. You didn't ask for money. Everyone asked for money. You asked for a chance. That showed me you are not like the others." Maya smiled softly. "Thank you, sir. I just wanted to learn." Richard nodded. "And you are doing more than that. You are teaching me something too." "Teaching you, sir?" she asked, surprised. "Yes," he said. "You remind me that people can come from anywhere and still rise if they believe in themselves." I had forgotten that lesson. Maya felt touched by his words. "I am just trying to do my best," she said humbly. Richard looked at her for a moment, then said, "You have a good mind, Maya. Don't waste it. One day you might lead something big." The next morning, Maya arrived early as usual. But something felt different. Everyone in the office was busy preparing for a new project launch. Richard had decided to test her idea about small businesses. He called it the Growth Circle. The idea was to invest in small companies that showed potential. Richard asked Maya to help with the data and planning. It was a big responsibility, but she accepted it without fear. She spent nights studying small company profiles, checking their strengths and risks. She made a list of 10 companies that could grow fast with proper investment. When she presented her report to Richard, he read every page carefully. "You did this all yourself?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Maya said. "I studied their sales, customer feedback, and future plans. I believe these companies can grow if we guide them properly." Richard nodded slowly. "Impressive. You have a business mind." He took her plan to the board meeting the next day. When he presented it, several senior members raised questions, but Richard defended the idea. "This plan came from one of our trainees," he said, "and I believe it will work." The board finally agreed to test it with a small investment. Months passed and Maya's plan started to show results. The small companies she selected began to grow. The Growth Circle project became a success. Richard called her to his office again one evening. He looked proud. "Maya, your plan worked. The profits are rising and the board is impressed." "You did well," Maya smiled. "I am happy it worked, sir," Richard said. "You should be more than happy. You are no longer a trainee. From now on, you are part of my analyst team." Maya's eyes widened with surprise. "Really, sir?" "Yes," Richard said. "You earned it. You are not here because of luck. You are here because of your hard work." Maya felt tears in her eyes, but she held them back. "Thank you, sir." I will keep working hard, Richard smiled. I know you will. As Maya left his office that evening, she stood by the window for a moment looking at the city lights. She thought about her journey from a small cafe to this tall building. She remembered the napkin puzzle that started everything. At home, Leo hugged her tightly when she told him the news. You did it, Maya, you really did it. She laughed with joy. We did it, Leo. Our lives are changing now. She spent that night thinking about the future. For the first time, she saw a clear path ahead. She was not just a waitress anymore. She was a young woman who had proved that talent and courage could open any door. But her journey was not over. Richard Hale still had more challenges waiting for her, and soon she would face a test that would decide her place in the business world forever. Months passed, and Maya's name began to spread inside the company. People admired her calm nature and clever ideas. She worked with focus, always learning something new. Richard Hale started trusting her more than most of his senior staff. She became the person he turned to when he needed honest advice. One morning, Richard called Maya to his office. He was standing near the window looking serious. Maya, I have an important task for you, he said. It is bigger than anything you have done before. Maya listened carefully. What kind of task, sir? She asked. Richard turned toward her. There is a company named Crestwell Technologies. It is one of our biggest partners. We are planning to invest in them again, but I am not sure if their numbers are real. Something feels wrong. I want you to study their reports secretly and tell me what you find. Maya understood the importance of his words. This was a matter of trust and responsibility. I will do it, sir, she said. Richard nodded. You have 3 days. Work quietly. No one should know about it. Maya spent the next 3 days reading reports, studying data, and comparing numbers. She noticed strange patterns in their profits. Some figures looked higher than they should be. It seemed someone was hiding losses to make the company look better. She stayed late every night, checking everything carefully. On the third night, she finally found proof. Crestwell Technologies was showing false profit numbers to attract more investment. Maya printed the documents and placed them in a folder. The next morning, she walked into Richard's office with calm confidence. I found something, she said. She handed him the folder and explained everything she discovered. Richard read through the papers silently. His eyes narrowed as he turned each page. When she finished, he looked at her with respect. You just saved us from a huge mistake, he said. If we had invested more money, we would have lost millions. You have done something many senior analysts could not. Maya smiled softly. I just did what you taught me, sir. Always check the facts. Richard smiled for a moment, then said, You are different, Maya. You see things clearly. I am proud of you. That day, Richard presented the truth to the board. Everyone was shocked. Some members tried to argue, but the proof was strong. Maya's report was perfect. The board agreed to cancel the deal. Richard announced that Maya had found the error, and everyone clapped for her. She felt proud but stayed humble. After the meeting, Alan came to her and said, You are becoming a star in this company. Maya, Mr. Hale believes in you completely. I just do my job, she replied kindly. In the following weeks, Richard started including her in high-level meetings. She met important clients and learned how big decisions were made. She spoke less but listened carefully. Learning how business and power worked together, Richard began to trust her judgment more than anyone else. One evening after a long meeting, Richard asked Maya to walk with him to the terrace of the building. The sky was painted with orange light as the sun went down. The city looked peaceful from above. You have grown fast, Richard said. When I first met you, you were serving coffee in a small cafe. Now you sit in meetings with millionaires. Do you realize how far you have come? Maya looked out at the city. Sometimes I still cannot believe it, sir. It feels like a dream. It is not a dream, Richard said firmly. It is the result of your courage and hard work. You earned your place here. Maya smiled. Thank you, sir. I could not have done it without your trust. Richard nodded. Trust is earned, and you earned it. He paused for a moment. But remember, success always comes with new tests. Some people will respect you, and some will envy you. She understood what he meant. In the office, not everyone was happy with her success. A few senior employees whispered behind her back, calling her lucky or saying she got special treatment. Maya ignored them and kept working quietly. But deep inside, she knew one of them might try to bring her down. One afternoon, while Maya was preparing a report, a man from another department approached her desk. His name was Brian, a senior analyst who had worked in the company for years. He looked at her with a half-smile. "You have impressed Mr. Hale a lot, haven't you?" he said. Maya replied politely, "I just do my work." Brian leaned closer. "Work is one thing, but getting his attention is another. Be careful. This place can change quickly." Maya stayed calm. "Thank you for the advice," she said, and went back to her report. She did not like his tone, but she didn't show anger. She knew that hard work was the only answer to jealousy. The next week, Richard asked Maya to prepare a new project proposal. It was a huge responsibility, something only trusted people could do. Maya worked day and night, checking every detail. The presentation was ready in time, but on the morning of the meeting, she found that her report file was missing from her desk. Her heart sank. She searched everywhere, but it was gone. She went straight to the office security team. They checked the cameras and saw that Brian had taken a folder from her desk late last night. Maya immediately told Richard about it. Richard called Brian into his office. "Did you take Maya's report?" he asked sharply. Brian looked nervous. "I was only checking her work, sir. She is new. I wanted to make sure it was correct." Richard's eyes were cold. "Without permission?" he asked. "That is not how this company works." Brian had no answer. Richard turned to Maya. "Do you have another copy of your work?" "Yes, sir," Maya said. "I saved it on my laptop." Richard nodded. "Good. Present it yourself." Maya went to the boardroom and stood before everyone. She spoke clearly and explained her plan step by step. Her voice was calm, her ideas strong. When she finished, the room was silent for a moment. Then the board members began to clap. Richard smiled proudly. After the meeting, he said to her, "You handled that perfectly. Never let anyone stop you." "Thank you, sir," Maya said. "I just wanted to prove myself through my work." "You already have," Richard said. "Now others know it too." After that day, everyone in the office respected her even more. Even those who were jealous stayed quiet. Richard gave her a new title, Project Advisor, and increased her pay. Maya was grateful, but she still stayed the same humble person she always was. That evening, she went home and shared the news with Leo. He was so happy that he jumped and hugged her. "You are amazing, Maya. You are going to be a big name one day." Maya laughed. "I just want to do good work, Leo. That is enough for me." She spent the night thinking about everything that had happened. The challenge, the chance, the hard work, and the trust she had earned, it all felt like a journey written by fate. But deep inside, she knew her story was not over. There was still something more waiting ahead, something that would test her heart and her dreams in a new way. Maya's life had changed dramatically in the past year. From a small cafe to the tallest office in the city, she had proven herself through intelligence, hard work, and honesty. Richard Hale watched her closely. He had seen many people rise and fall, but Maya was different. She was strong without arrogance, clever without pride, and humble despite her success. One morning, Richard called Maya to his office. She walked in carrying her notebook and greeted him politely. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning, Maya," Richard said. He looked serious but calm. "Today I want to give you a final challenge. This will test everything you have learned." Maya felt a small rush of excitement. She had faced challenges before, but she trusted herself and her skills. "I am ready, sir," she said. Richard handed her a folder. "Inside you will find the plans of several companies. I want you to select one company for a long-term investment. This will decide the direction of my next big project. You have 1 week. Take your time, think carefully, and present your recommendation to me." Maya nodded and took the folder. She spent the next 7 days fully immersed in research. She analyzed financial statements, studied customer reviews, met with smaller investors, and even visited some company locations. She worked tirelessly, often skipping lunch and taking short breaks to rest her mind. During this week, she reflected on her journey. She remembered the day Richard had given her the napkin puzzle in the cafe. That single moment had opened a door to a world she had only dreamed of. Now the decisions she made could impact millions of dollars. On the 7th day, she prepared her report carefully. She highlighted the best company for long-term growth, explained the risks, and suggested a detailed plan for investment. She even created a strategy to support the company in case challenges arose. Everything was neat, clear, and professional. Maya walked into Richard's office confidently. He looked up from his laptop as she entered. "Are you ready?" he asked. "Yes, sir," she replied. She handed him the folder and began her presentation. Step by step, she explained her research, reasoning, and strategy. Richard listened carefully, rarely interrupting. When she finished, the room was silent. Richard leaned back in his chair and studied her. "You did an excellent job, Maya," he said. "Your analysis is thorough, your reasoning is clear, and your strategy is smart. This is exactly what I needed. You have earned my trust completely." Maya smiled politely. "Thank you, sir. I wanted to make sure my work was accurate." Richard got up and walked to the window. He looked at the city below and said quietly, "Maya, you have changed the way I see talent and potential. You have shown me that where someone starts does not define where they can go." Maya felt her heart warm. She realized that all her hard work had been noticed not just for results, but for the courage and integrity behind it. Richard turned to her and handed her a small envelope. "This is for you," he said. "It contains a scholarship to complete your studies in finance and business at one of the best schools in the country. You have earned it through your hard work and dedication. No one else will question your abilities now." Maya's eyes widened. She opened the envelope carefully and saw the acceptance letter and financial aid documents. She felt tears in her eyes. I don't know what to say, sir," she whispered. "You do not need to say anything," Richard said gently. "You have done everything through your actions. Let this be a reward for your courage and intelligence." Maya felt overwhelmed with gratitude. She bowed slightly. "Thank you, sir. I promise I will make the most of this opportunity." Richard nodded. "I know you will. And remember, Maya, this is just the beginning. Your journey is only starting." That evening, Maya returned home and shared the news with Leo. His face lit up with joy. "You did it, Maya? You really did it?" he exclaimed. Maya smiled and hugged him tightly. "We did it, Leo. All the hard work is paying off. But I want you to know, this is not just for me. This is for both of us. We will keep growing together." Leo smiled, feeling proud of his sister. "I am proud of you, Maya. You inspire me to work harder too." Over the next few months, Maya balanced her studies and work. She continued to assist Richard in the office while attending classes at the university. Her life became busy but fulfilling. She met new people, learned new ideas, and applied her knowledge in real situations. Richard watched her closely. He admired how she remained humble and focused, despite all the attention she was receiving. Other employees were impressed by her growth, and many sought her advice. She became a role model for everyone, proving that determination and honesty could open any door. One afternoon, Richard asked Maya to join him for a meeting with some new investors. She entered the conference room confidently, carrying her notes. During the meeting, she spoke clearly, answered questions accurately, and presented data with ease. The investors were impressed and praised her for her professionalism. After the meeting, Richard said quietly, "You have grown into a remarkable professional. Maya, you have the mind and character to lead anything you choose." Maya smiled. "Thank you, sir. I am learning from the best." Richard looked at her and said, "You have taught me too. I have seen what real talent looks like. It does not come from wealth or status. It comes from courage, intelligence, and honesty. You have all of that." Maya felt proud but remained humble. "I will continue to work hard, sir. I want to achieve more, not for money, but to make a positive difference." Richard nodded. "And you will. I have no doubt about that." By the end of the year, Maya had become a trusted advisor for Richard. She had proven herself in every test, earned respect from everyone, and was now a symbol of hard work and determination in the company. She still remembered the day in the cafe when Richard had given her a puzzle, and she smiled. That moment had changed everything. One evening, as Maya left the office, she stood by the terrace and looked at the city lights. The wind gently touched her face, and she felt a sense of achievement and hope. She knew her journey had just begun, but she was ready for every challenge that life would bring. Maya turned and saw Richard standing behind her. "You have done well, Maya," he said softly. "I am proud to call you part of my team." Maya smiled. "Thank you, sir. I could not have done this without your trust." Richard nodded. "Trust is earned, and you earned it. Never forget that." Maya looked out at the city once more. She knew that from now on, she could face any challenge with confidence, courage, and honesty. She had started as a waitress who solved a simple puzzle, and now she was someone who could change the world with her ideas. The journey had been long, and it was not over. But Maya was ready. She had her dreams, her skills, and the determination to succeed. And most importantly, she had learned that true value comes not from money, but from knowledge, hard work, and integrity. With a deep breath, Maya smiled and walked back inside, ready to continue the story of her remarkable life.